This is Scott Perrin with Apex Bike Equipment. Today I'm going to show you how to mount a tubeless tire to a Fulcrum Racing Zero two-way rim. These are extremely nice rims. They have ceramic bearings, and the benefits of a tubeless tire include safety in case of a blowout or a hole in the tire. They won't pop a tube, they'll just deflate, allowing you to slow down gracefully. And they're light, and the tubeless tire allows you to run at a bit lower pressure for a nicer ride. And you can train a race on these rims. My recommendation for tires is a Hutchinson Fusion 3 tire. I've tried other tubeless tires, but the Fusion 3 fits this tire, fits this rim the best. So let's get started. I like to take the tire out of the packaging and then open it up, and it helps to get the tire onto the rim if it's perhaps a little bit warmer outside. Today in Denver it's probably about 50 degrees, but I shouldn't have any trouble to getting these on. But you simply stretch the tire out, and the first step is to start to work it onto the rim. And I put it on one side of the rim. There's a valve here, and I usually put in the tire on one side of the valve and work it around the rim, and you'll see that it gets to be pretty tight here, and typically then I use a tool to coax the first side on. So that first step is I usually take a tire iron. This is a mountain bike tire iron, but you'll see that the fit is pretty snug. But usually I just pry that onto the rim on the first side, and similarly then work the tire onto the other side of the rim, being careful again at the valve to insert the tire into there's the valve block there. The tubeless valve block rides in the middle of the channel, and I usually just put the rim the tire on the rim on each side, making sure that that's there, and then just work my way around the rim. Okay, at this point I've got the tire mounted on both on the far side of the rim and on the near side of the rim. It's pretty tight. You can see that it takes a bit of coaxing, having two people participate, where one holds the tire on, and it's simply a matter of I turn the tire iron around and basically just pry it onto the rim. Not too much rocket science here, just a little bit of brute force to mount the tire onto the rim. Sometimes it helps if you have two tire irons. You can put one on one side and hold the tire and then work the tire onto the rim. Okay, at this point I've got the tire mounted onto the rim. I've got it sitting on a bucket. There's no air in it, of course, and it's just sitting on the rim after I've mounted it. I've got a bucket just with a little bit of dish soap from the kitchen mixed up in just a little bit of water, and I've got a brush. And finally, I've got an air compressor. This is a fairly small air compressor, but I've got it set to 125 pounds per square inch with a head on it and a pressed compressed nipple. And so the idea to mount that tire and to get it to seal is you put some of that soapy water onto the rim all the way around on both sides. You could, or some people might put the sealant in first, and that process is through the removable valve core. But if the tire doesn't seal and you have to take it back apart, then you've probably wasted some sealant. I find that by getting the tire wet here and using soapy water to seal the tire, and then putting the latex in, it works pretty well. So the compressor is full. I'm going to take this handle that I'm simply going to insert it, align it and insert it, and try to pop the tire onto the rim with compressed air. It's sealing pretty well. The handle came off here. But that tire sealed right onto the rim first time. And if you have any leaks around, you'll see bubbles. So I believe that tire is ready to go and ready for sealant. At this point, I've got the rear tire to go with the front tire. I've done the same process of simply mounting the tire onto the rim. Previously, it's not sealed up yet. Taking the skewer out. I'm going to go through the same process here of lubricating the tire rim interface on both sides, and then injecting air into this one as well to seal the tube onto the rim. And these are tubeless rims. And once you get them on there and add the sealant, got all the protection against flats that you need. So, likewise with the first rim, I'm going to open up the valve stem core, and I'm going to insert, press the fitting, squirt air in, open the valve fully of the air to the air compressor, and fill the tire up. You'll hear a popping sound from time to time as that tire seats onto the rim. But again, this one's also ready for sealant and ready to go. These tires are rated to 125 psi, so I set the compressor at 125, and I blow them up as firm as possible, and you'll hear again the pops as the tire seats onto the rim. But once it's seated on there, right now the tire's full, and you could run it this way, but you really want to put some stand sealant in that to give you the protection against flats. And I'll show you that next step. After mounting the tire to the rim, I've simply let the air out. The tire is fully sealed to the rim at this point, and now we'll add some sealant to the system here in order to prevent punctures. I found that Stan's Latex sealant does a great job. Usually add it once to twice per season. I've just taken this quart-size bottle and filled up a 2-ounce delivery bottle here, and simply will take a Stan's tool here. It's a core remover tool, and pull out the core by unscrewing it. You get these core removers on Amazon, amongst other places. The core pops out, and with the valve oriented at about 4 o'clock here, I'll squirt in the stands, add that right into through the valve core, through the valve stem, and of course it'll drain down to the bottom of the tire. Some people will then spin the tire and or leave it flat for 24 hours, let that sealant work along the rim. Sometimes store the tire horizontally and then flip it over so that the sealant can seal along the rims. But I find just running the tire does a great job of sealing, and it's a little bit messy here, so I've got some rags positioned to catch anything that drips out, and simply then insert the core. Pretty tight, but not very real tight. Do it finger tight. I'm going to be able to get that back out and not break it off. And these tires will lose some air from time to time. I pump them up every ride. You can, if you're losing air, it could be that the valve core is not tight to the rim. There's a connecting screw here. You can tighten down that's attached to the block on the inside. That might seal it up a little bit better. But typically that's how you then mount a Fusion 3 tire to Fulcrum Racing 0 2-way rim. Hope that helps, and see you next time.